Um, This is the planning commission. That's right. I had to hit the gavel. I don't remember. Anyway, let's do roll call. Carl's here.
Mary Gardner's here.
Freilinger's here. No public comment. Nobody's here. So, unless there's anybody online. Is there anybody online?
Hold on, I'm still.
Okay.
We do not have anyone online. If anybody comes in the next couple minutes, I'll flag you down just in
Okay.
case we missed them.
All right. So the reason I thought we could get together is to make sure that we all kind of summarize the three takeaways from or some of the takeaways from the joint meeting that we had. And in that joint meeting, I think there were three topics that we identified that we should work on. The first one was reviewing the lighting ordinance that we already passed. And looking at how the new code changes, it may need to modify that ordinance. So Walt's gonna take a look at that for us. Some of those new code changes are related to stuff that passed in the legislature just this last session, so that's why it's new. The second thing was, there was a discussion about the historic district designation. And one of the topics that came up was, there is a state level historic district, but we could, as a city, identify our own historic district.
Is there a county?
Well, that is the other, yeah, different levels, county, state, those, there may be.
Okay.
And if we don't, that's a longer process to go through the application and do all that. We could establish our own historic district as we're trying to get those. But then we could establish some guidelines, I guess, that are based on that decision. Which brings to the third thing, which was asking Walt to assist us in helping with create a set of standards for downtown development that keeps the look of Yamhill. Which, when the gas station went in, there was a whole discussion about it's not gonna fit into the look. And those of us who voted for the gas station said, well, there's nothing in the code saying what that means. And we need to, we can't stop a developer from coming in if we don't have some structure and rules around that. So, the Downtown Association,
Economic Development Committee.
Economic Development, is going to help kind of come up with different options of what they would like to see, and then it'll come to us, talk about that. So we're gonna work with Walt. So the idea was, let's create a template for what future development might fit into what it is that we want our downtown to look like. So those were am I missing anything, Angie?
Those are the few that I have.
Okay, that's what I remembered.
Is that a separate issue from preserving historic buildings? In other words, could this parlay out into any future development needs to also fit the character
Of the city.
of historic preservation?
Yeah, and I think that's what the economic committee is gonna look at, is what is the look of Yamhill historically, and what we would like to see. And so the idea of creating the historic district was we could start laying the foundation for that look of what it is. So,
Is there a theme or an advertising reach out to people as to who and what Yamhill is?
right now there is not, and I think that's would be part of this too.
Yeah,
So,
when I moved back here after being gone for 50 years,
yeah,
when I moved back here, I asked somebody, I said, okay, so Carlton has a theme. We know where that came from. What is Yamhill's? And a relative told me Yamhill's theme is just don't look like Carlton. So that's why I asked the question.
Yeah,
If we're non-Carlton, what are we?
right. And I asked the same questions. And so, I've heard different things. Some people have said, we don't want to be Carlton. That's a common one. The other is, we don't just want to be a bedroom town. We want to be something else. So those are the kind of the two obvious directions as a town that we could take. So if we don't want to be those, and some people say that, then what is the other option? And I think I'm hoping the Economic Development Committee comes up with, what does that look like? What's the direction we're headed that we want to see in 20 years? And that's the thing, one of the things we talked about is, we don't start with a vision now, 20 years from now, we'll be back in the same place we are now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, any other comments, thoughts about those things? That was kind of the three things that came up of, well, we're gonna work on trying to help develop. Okay. So, oh, and then strategy, I was just saying with that, we've kind of already talked about the strategy for the next, for these things. The Economic Development Committee will get us going. I'm looking for Walt to come back with some response. We sent him an email with those things. We'll get a response hopefully from him of how to move forward. We'll start having conversations. Today is Walt's anniversary, so he's not here. So
Don't blame him.
Don't blame him. But I thought it important just for us to lay the groundwork. I didn't want to lose sight for another month of the things we just talked about with city council. And especially, I think, since not everybody made it, and I think you logged in eventually online, I think.
Yeah, about 6:30.
Yeah. So that was B. The other new business, the last item, the mayor approached me about trying to see if our meetings could somehow go before city council during the month. Because right now we're the week after city council. Angie pointed out that would be a burden on her as it currently sits, because she already has some, so I don't remember what it was, but
I
yeah.
have quite a few meetings at the time that would fall into.
Right, so I think I'll let you Angie maybe talk to the mayor about it, but maybe it's that we swap weeks.
I
Can
don't know,
city
because
council
our,
move?
per our charter, we have them on the second Wednesday of the month. I would love to just rearrange the
Oh.
schedule. But my thought was, because I think the issue that you're running into is that you're wanting to, if you guys are sending something to them, you want it to just be right afterwards.
Yeah.
But then if they're sending something to you, then you're running into it there. So maybe if we did it 2 weeks and then it's just 2 weeks planning, 2 weeks council, and then it would work out better on my schedule. But I wanted to kind of get an idea of what everybody's schedule was before I reached out. Regarding
How does the fourth Monday look?
fourth Monday of the month.
That would be kind of splitting it.
Right, because they're the second Wednesday.
They're the second Wednesday. So the fourth Monday. The only thing I would want to make sure is obviously Walt, we'd want to make sure that would fit with his schedule.
Okay.
I wouldn't have a problem with the fourth Monday, because that would,
But that doesn't mean we have to come back next week, right?
No.
we're just getting ideas already. If we were to change it, I don't even know if everybody else's schedule, if Mondays is the best day or what would work for anybody else, so.
And you look at the holiday rotation. New Year's, Christmas,
Yeah,
Labor Day, Memorial Day, so look at how those fall.
Yeah, right now, because of us being on the third Monday of the month, usually in January and February, we don't have meetings because of where they
the
fall
holidays.
with the holidays.
President's
with the-
Day and Martin Luther King Day. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
so switching it up would probably open us up to more meetings a year if we're doing it that way.
I think from my schedule standpoint, I put it on the family calendar and my wife just looks and says, oh, this is the week. So I don't think which week it is matters so much as just that I have a predictable Monday.
Okay.
And I realized everybody at one point wanted Wednesdays and we switched to Mondays for me. At the moment, that's still better for me, so.
I'm fine with it.
I mean, I could push. I have about, if I was to go back to Wednesdays, I'd have to ask about 12 people to rearrange their schedules, so. No,
We'll avoid that. Okay, so I'll reach out to Walt and Ken and get an idea of kind of, Mary, what?
I'm retired. I only could do daytime meetings. The fact that this is a couple blocks away.
yeah. Okay,
Okay,
so,
I can do that. I can reach out to them and see if that works and then speak with the mayor and get back to you guys on that.
so- Getting old, apparently. His name is slipping my mind.
We can make up a new one. He's not here.
I know.
Ken?
Ken. We need to make sure to run it by him too.
Yes. Okay, reach out to Ken.
Walt and Ken from our perspective.
Mm. Yeah.
All right. Does anybody have anything else they wanted to bring up?
I read, I think, that we are already on board with licensing of B&Bs and Airbnbs. Am I right on that, or is that in the works?
So we have, the ordinance is established for taxing, like the transient launching tax. I don't know that it includes some regulations, but it's not as heavily regulated as some, like, yeah, like the coast would have. And that isn't, we're in the process of implementing, you know, making sure everybody's aware of it and where they need to pay their taxes and getting a notification of that, so.
Is there a county health involved?
At this point, no.
Only restaurants?
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Food carts, did that come up in the big meeting?
Mainly they were focused on getting the codes updated for the downtown area.
So it came up briefly and I think the thought was, at this point, it's trying to solve a problem that we don't have yet. That we don't foresee happening soon. Right? At least that came up.
So if somebody comes in, they come into City Hall and say, you know, there's this little parcel of land over on whatever corner of what street, and I own it and I'd like to pave it. And I would like to have 4 food carts, a food cart community. I'm thinking of Scappoose, Oregon, that has a gorgeous one. Somebody put in a bar restaurant, brand new building, sidewalk in back, men's and women's restrooms, pavement out this way, 8 food carts, parking, all new food cart community. Well received, well regulated, licensed. So I had that in my mind thinking, okay, I have now seen what a brand new, beautiful offering for people. And it happens to be right across from Scappoose High School. So you know what the noon hour crowd is, rather than the cafeteria. And I was amazed at the offerings of healthy food. And they have umbrellas and picnic tables and picnic benches for people to sit and garbage cans and.
I don't think anybody was opposed to having something about food carts. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was more of an issue of, do we see that coming into our community yet? If we started to have something to draw people in, I think that would be something we'd have to think about.
I think a lot of communities are looking at that, not just big cities. And I was amazed and pleased to see how Scappoose, as a little town, had done this.
But I don't think we could, that could be something we could ask Walt to just take a look at it. What would that look like?
So currently, what we discussed in the work sessions were what the council had already put down as their goals for the year. Yeah, so that's why those were the main things that we were discussing in the work sessions. If it were something that you guys thought would be worth looking into, then you could bring it up to the council at their next meeting and see how they feel about proceeding with it, because what we don't wanna happen is what kind of happened with, I don't wanna say the lighting ordinance, cause I know that was, they had said.
Yeah.
But we don't wanna happen is you guys put all that work into it and have Walt put all that work into it and then them be like, we don't want one.
Right.
You know, cause then it's not gonna pass, so
Mhm.
just reach out to council first, see what their thoughts are. And then move on from there.
Yeah, I think what I would propose is that this was their priorities, look, we can get started on these. I think we could get through some of those fairly efficiently.
Mhm.
And then get done with, and then say, okay, here's some ideas for the next thing that we think we should do.
Because we are working on the Parks Master Plan, the city is, and and I know baseball fields came up in a lot of that, and when you have people coming in for baseball fields, food carts are a great thing to have, so
Yeah.
I think that would be something definitely to have on the radar.
Yeah.
You know, soon, but.
Yeah,
There are very few restaurants
there's,
when you look at a town this size, yeah. Yeah, so, you know, that's been in my mind since I saw such a good, well-planned, in my view, well-planned, and I thought, wow, how many cities are gonna emulate what Scappoose did?
I know in Salem, West Salem. So I used to live in West Salem, but then it wasn't there at the time, but now I commute through there. There's one out Wallace Road that went in that's really nice. They have a really nice building and that's kind of a pub.
Yeah,
And
a
then-
pub
and then-
hub is
and then-
kind of what they
right,
call
And then
it,
they've got a whole bunch of carts outside of it.
yeah.
I believe Forest Grove has one similar to that as well,
Yeah.
where you have the
Yeah,
tables
that's
that you
right.
can sit at, but
Mhm.
you can choose what food from around
So-
the area.
Yeah, I think we have the if the Economic Development Committee comes up with kind of a marketing, kind of what we're gonna do for this, I mean, we can look at, I think then we start having the ability to attract people like that, to bring a business like that. So,
And this is, I'm assuming that the community, if that came to the fore, would be welcoming and think that that's a good thing, at least seasonally. I don't know, because I don't have an idea yet of, you know, what the thought process is as far as expansion. I called into City Hall saying, okay, what, just out of curiosity, what are our current urban growth boundaries? Is there a request by a developer currently to do something about those? Is there anybody involved in land, like, I'm related to everybody here, the Van Dykes behind Fourth Street, you know, and I'm saying, okay, so is there somebody looking at, okay, changing the urban growth boundary and going beyond on Cedar Street and the park to Yamhill Creek? I was curious about where all our boundaries are and whether there's somebody knocking at the door.
so we've hit the boundaries, it's my understanding, for the most part.
Yeah, there are a few that,
There's a few lots that are left.
yeah, we did an inventory with that last legislative amendment, and I can pull up the comprehensive plan with the maps showing you all that.
I went on when, I don't know if I talked to you or somebody else in City Hall. They told me where to get the map off of. So I went on and looked at what was there then.
And we have had a gentleman who's come to planning commission talking about the need to expand the urban growth boundary. And that I think he knows, he's a developer, but he lives here and he knows that we're running out of space. And he knows of landowners who are outside the urban growth boundary who have expressed interest. I think part of some of the dilemma is water and sewer are maxed right now. And so they're trying to solve that problem too, which there's different things in the works for trying to come up with a solution.
Well,
to that.
obviously, anybody who comes in to develop has to
Going up.
pay for those two.
Right, and there's a study going on right now to look at three options for more water. So I think we have the space for the sewage treatment expansion, but it's the funding that becomes a question. And then the water, it's where do we get it from? Because our reservoir is tapped.
Right.
So there's another reservoir further up in the Cascades. There's Hillsborough and McMinnville that could.
Is it in the
we-
Cascades or the coast? Where
I'm
is this
sorry,
other
I'm sorry.
coastal
The coast
mountains? Right,
range, sorry.
right.
And it's, I don't know, was it 10, 13 miles above our reservoir, something like that?
Are we,
We're talking
Barney?
about Barney.
okay, I don't know.
Yeah,
Specifically, I know
anyway.
it's up higher.
I hunt
Further
up,
out.
I hunt up there, so I know where our
Over.
reservoir is, and it's just it's further up the gravel road. But obviously, all those are big expenditures, obviously, to bring in
Right.
pipe.
So obviously, if a developer wants to add to a new neighborhood, they're gonna have to pony up to pay for those additions, and that makes sense.
And I think there's discussion of trying to get federal funds to help potentially and stuff like
With
that,
expansion of systems.
or state funds.
Okay.
So, anyway, so the mayor and I briefly talked about some of those different options after the last meeting. So they're working on that. That's outside our purview, but it was good to hear they're working on it because, yeah, if a subdivision came in right now, that would be met with a lot of public.
Oh,
Unless, of course, they ponied up. What is the flavor? What's the flavor of, I was born and raised here, but lived elsewhere for 50 years. So what is the flavor outside of farmland, wineries and vineyards and hazelnut orchards? What's the flavor?
And I don't think there is one.
that's what we're looking to define.
We need to define
Yeah, it's kind of like, just not Carlton.
that. Well, and, either I think for the general, people want to make sure we stay a small town. We don't want to grow huge, or big. I don't know how big is. That's another question. But, if you say a small town, how do you bring dollars into the town?
Exactly.
Right. So-
And my observation is that 57 new houses that are next to me, those folks are commuting
Yep.
to Washington County and Multnomah County.
Yeah,
The highway
Yep.
is full.
yeah,
So we are a bedroom community, rural agricultural county still. Our tax base looks different than Washington, Clackamas, and Multnomah. That makes us attractive. So I kind of feel like, not because I lived on an island for 25 years, but there has to be a flavor, a theme, and a forward thinking. This is what we're going to carefully do to meet all those needs.
yeah, and we have to decide to some degree. One of the options is we don't want to grow. And I don't know if that is viable or not, because with the population projection that we got, didn't they do a population projection recently? And it was that in 20 years, we will actually decrease in population.
What was the reason for that?
I don't remember. Somebody,
Off the top of my head.
yeah. Shay mentioned it. I didn't realize
I mean,
that.
if 3 neighborhoods have gone in,
It's when they did the housing needs.
The needs assessment.
Yeah.
Huh. Because if you look at 2013, that neighborhood built.
Yep.
2015, my neighborhood built, and now the newest one in the last 2 years. I don't see how that's gonna stop,
Yeah,
except for urban growth boundary
Yeah,
and deciding we're stopping.
I think right now, I know me as one of the bedroom community people that travels. We are a distance away from most, so if you wanna live and work in Washington County or Marion County, so I'm in Marion County. It's a 55-minute drive for me to get to work. And then 55 minutes home. It's probably the extent of what most people want from a commute. Especially, and Newburgh is growing leaps and bounds.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Forest Grove is growing leaps and bounds.
Mhm.
The only way what I can see though is those are starting to get big, those towns. And so if somebody's really wanting that small town feel, they might still want to come out here, That's what we're gonna get. We're gonna get the people that want that. That's my opinion. And so,
I think the lonely lasts just so long. I mean, having lived on an island and, let's close the doors and cancel the ferries. There is that aspect. It's not realistic. That's my feeling.
I think we need a plan. It's probably gonna happen. And, it may be 20, 30 years before it becomes significant, but we need to be forward thinking about it now, I think.
Mhm.
But we need to solve the water and sewer. That's probably, or at least have a plan.
Well, as far as federal monies, I don't see those coming in this administration. So,
Well-
so it's
Yeah.
gonna be developer driven.
Or state, so our state has chosen to try to address the housing issue. And so that would be the motivation, is that they recognize that there's not enough housing.
I think, was it something to do with, and I'm backtracking now, but that the kids are gonna move away because they don't have anywhere to stay here, there's no
I think there's nothing to keep them.
small apartments or anything to
To
keep
keep
them
them
here,
here.
so.
And that's
That's why
been
looking at
part of a
population.
pattern since the 70s. There's nothing in this community to hold them here. Some do come back, and for the right reasons and the wrong reasons. But there's no industry or development to offer enough jobs to
Keep them here,
support a family,
yeah.
raise a family here. Those people are gonna be the ones buying the houses and commuting out.
Well, and the other thing that could happen, and we're all speculating here, but
Yeah,
Forest Grove and Newburgh might develop enough industry and that they start to produce more jobs. If a big company came into Newburgh, that would potentially put pressure on us to grow. People not wanting to live in Newburgh, but wanting to live out.
and then 9 mile commute, yeah.
Yeah. So that would be the other direction. Even Mac,
And McMinnville as well.
yeah, Mac, they're seem very growth oriented.
Are they? See, I haven't picked up a flavor of McMinnville.
I don't know, it just seems like that to me. They have business industries there, like is the steel?
Yeah, they have a steel mill, Recology's there,
Right.
I'm trying to think industrial.
Out by the airport or the
Well,
museum and all
Evergreen,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Evergreen, which actually, there's not as much of Evergreen anymore.
Yeah, so if another company came in like that to Mac or,
Who's the cookie people, Mrs. Smith's or?
are they there?
Wait, there's a.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some by Lowe's over there.
Newburgh has ADEC. They've been there for a while, forever.
Mhm.
And if another company came in like that, it would stimulate growth. Anyway, I think we should have a plan in case whatever, next 20 years, what happens.
Mhm. Yes.
Those are all good things for us to talk about or bring up to the city council this year.
Do you think that there is a strong knee-jerk reaction to development?
Yes.
Okay,
Against it, you mean?
yeah,
Yes. Yeah, I would say that's a yes.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Most people here don't wanna see new houses.
Yeah.
Whether that's worries for the water situation, and it would change if that wasn't an issue. Or maybe not. Understanding the.
I think the water was one of the motivations. We went through a spat of catalytic converters being stolen around town. Remember that a couple, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago? And so I was at Larson House picking up dinner to take home. And I was talking to some lady who was sitting at the bar, and she said, we don't want to become a Portland. And I was thinking, we're a long way from Portland.
Yeah.
But it was during that time when there was a mini crime wave, and there was just this, we don't want them gangs from Portland. She actually used the word, we don't want them Portland gangs coming here. And I'm thinking, we're a long ways from that.
Is there, I mean, I happen to drive an electric. One of my cars is electric, and is there a charger in this town?
I don't think they're
Well, the police cars, 3 of them.
Yeah, but that's not open,
like
right?
a public.
That's not credit
Oh,
card.
you mean a charger? I thought you meant the kind of.
Oh,
car.
wait,
I was
isn't the gas station supposed to get
I was
one?
thinking like a Chevy Charger.
Weren't they supposed, one of the things, weren't they supposed to install one? Am I forgetting? Or was that just a discussion point?
I don't know.
If it didn't get put in, it was probably not included, but I haven't looked around to see if there's one.
Yeah, I haven't looked either,
Yeah,
you know, because I just charge it in the garage, but
I think there was a desire I thought maybe there was a county or state thing that said they needed, if you're putting in a new gas station or something. I
that
don't know.
there might be a regulation that said they had to have at least one new charger if they had so many gas pumps or
Maybe,
something.
Maybe, I don't know.
Hmm.
But I don't remember seeing it over there, so I'm guessing it wasn't required. Maybe it was just a
Okay.
test. I
Okay.
don't know, maybe Wall would remember. But yeah, I don't think there is right now. Let's
See, that's kind of, again, a piece of the flavor
Yeah,
of growth.
so. The other thing that came up after the meeting, Ken and I got a tour of Jenny. She took us over here, the little building on the other side here, the little red building. There's a vacant lot that used to be the old car lot, and then the red building. They're gonna tear it down and put in a little coffee shop there.
Is this on 47?
No, it's right. Yes, yeah, right out here, like right next door.
Like third or second and
You know where the little
47?
coffee, you know where the
It's
coffee cart is?
literally right out
oh,
the window.
where the cart is now.
Across from the coffee cart.
Yeah.
Okay,
Not the cart itself, but across from the cart.
okay.
Yeah.
And that was a car lot at one time?
Next door is a car lot at one time.
Okay,
There is a used car lot still there. And then on the
Oh.
other side is a house. Yes, that
It
it
was
was residential in a commercial zone, and now they've bought it and they're gonna make it commercial.
It's a really narrow little lot.
Hmm. so is it gonna be a drive-through
No.
like the portable?
I don't
Okay,
think so.
This will be a rotisserie where they,
Roastery.
sorry.
Roastery. And so we will probably get their application here
Mhm.
soon, eventually. And one of the topics that I know Jennifer brought up was the parking, what's required parking wise, because they don't have any room for parking at all.
so that suggests to me they could only do on-street parking, people walk to their window or a drive-through and out, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there's no room for a drive-through though.
So how successful can they be?
So it's pretty much walk or park on the street is what it's gonna be, right? They know she said she talked to the lady that owns the used, I guess it is still a used car lot,
Mhm.
but but she doesn't wanna sell. They were thinking that could be a good parking.
So we don't have an ordinance that says if you open a business, you have to have one or two.
Well, that's
that we sell you designated parking. You don't have that?
I don't, that we, not like off the street,
Or on the street?
no. I mean, that's what I meant, on the street. No, there isn't anything about on the street, I don't think. There's some, there is some,
Adjacent to a business,
yeah, I don't think so.
the closest parking spot, nobody gets a chance to buy that as part of their business, and pay the city.
No, they're all public.
Yeah, they're all public.
Okay. That's an island thing,
Oh, is it?
how they control parking,
Yeah.
you know, because huge tourist trade.
So that would be an issue that we'll have to sort through, because I think there is a thing saying if you have a business in town, you have to have parking. A certain number of parking spots. But the lot's not big enough for parking.
There's 2 employee spaces in the back, I believe, in the.
Yeah, but they're talking about putting that roastery in, right?
No,
Oh,
it's
you mean
behind the
in-
roastery, so it'd be
Oh.
the little shop, the roastery, and then 2 parking
Oh,
spaces.
So
but-
then maybe that could count for there, I don't know, we'll have to ask Walt.
Yeah, the ordinances, I could look up, I don't know them off the top of my head, but I can look them up, but I believe that it only requires off-street parking spaces for if you're living in the buildings. To make sure if they're,
At
if
the
they're.
gas station, we were required to have a certain number of parking spots.
Oh,
Wasn't there a whole discussion about
Oh,
how
yeah.
many parking spots they had?
yes, yes, there was.
Are we talking the
It might-
portable coffee cart, or are we talking what?
No, that for the gas station, there was a discussion.
Oh, gas station,
about parking
okay.
spots. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I just figured every town had something like, you have to have X number and you pay the city for them.
I'd be really curious to know why the lady doesn't want to sell her car lot. She really wants to hold on to that piece of land. All right, so anyway, that's the marching orders for the year. So after we get through these, I think we could tackle some of the food cart discussions that the city council is open to us doing that. If they
Yeah,
think
I'm
that's
just
the-
curious, looking ahead, I want to be
Yeah,
forward
No, that's
thinking.
good.
You know, not that we have to have what everybody else has, but I don't think we should keep ignoring the fact that these things are going to be, I think, more commonplace than we might want to.
Right. We have a motion to adjourn
I'll make that motion to be adjourned.
I second.
and we're adjourned. Thank you guys for coming in. I know it was a short little meeting.